Oh man, I had leftover beefaroni from Mom. It was so good. She warned me that this batch was really good, and I was like, weird, because Mom never says that her food is really good, even though Mom's food is always really good. She's like, that's all right. And she was like, this batch was good. And I went, whoa. That's how you know it's good, when Mom says it's good. And it was. It was delicious.
Delicious?
Yeah.
That is not an adjective I think I've ever heard before.
Is that a Homestar Runner thing, or is it just a thing I said?
Well, I've heard you say it before. Delicious.
I wonder where I picked that up then, because I don't have original thoughts. Psst. Badger, 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 badger. Oh, I watched something I've never watched before a couple nights ago. I watched the Adventures of Ichabod, Crane, and Mr. Toad. You know, the Disney?
Yeah, you've never actually seen that?
I had never seen the full movie that puts those two together. Like, I'd never seen the Wind in the Willows part, it turns out, ever. And I'd never seen the entire Legend of Sleepy Hollow. I'd only seen most of it because it was the part that was in Disney's Halloween Treat that I had on VHS.
You know what? I think I might be right there with you.
I seem to remember a Wind in the Willows something that I saw when I was younger, where, like, but apparently not, because I haven't been able to find it. But when it was over, I went, that's not the one I thought. There must be another one. Because I remember, like, psychological warfare being waged on who I thought were, like, the weasels, where they thought there was an army of badgers. And I have a very vivid recollection of the bad guys being fooled into thinking there was an army of badgers, and them imagining an army of badgers walking at them and freaking out and running away. And it wasn't in this. And it's not even the same kind of badger in the Wind in the Willows, and I was really confused. So I don't know what that's from. But whenever I tried to look up an army of badgers, all I kept getting was badger, 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 mushroom, mushroom. I'm like, no, not that. And ever since then, badger, badger, badger has been stuck in my head. So thanks, Internet. The Wind in the Willows used to have a stop-motion show. Huh.
I think I remember seeing episodes of that.
I don't know.
Some program on PBS. Back when I was a kid.
But anyway, okay, that is filled for 3 minutes now, so I'm sure we're good to start the show. So you guys good to start the show?
Yes.
So.
All right, here we go. Oh, jam! Hello, everyone, and welcome to the Mana Pool. This is episode 609, which I think is where the word noise came from. You just put a O in between.
Noise.
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 Or Neosi? Nah, noise. Anyway, hi, I'm Chewy. I am the lead dork, and I'm bad at this game, and I have all these other dorks here, too. Hi, dorks.
Hey, I'm Brian. I'm the lead rambler, tangent master of the group. And this is usually where I try to say something witty and see if the others pick up on it. But you know what? I'm in a legitimately hopeful mood today, so I'm just going to say hamburgers and see what they do with that. Hamburgers. Go.
All right. I'm Mike. I'm the rules guy and the game lore guy, and I was actually making an effort to pay close attention to what you were trying to set up and try to contribute to it. So this time I'm going to say chicken sandwiches.
Because last week, Chewy said something about he thought I was going to go for one thing and you took it in a completely different direction.
Yeah, I think.
Yeah. So hamburgers and chicken sandwiches.
And I'm Dirk, the self-proclaimed greenest man alive and moral compass of the group. And I'm going to say chicken Alfredo.
It's not a sandwich at all. Well,
Oh,
it
it's
could be.
still
meats.
I mean, it could be.
Bread.
Yeah, that's true.
Tacos! Anyway.
Also delicious.
I didn't get Taco Bell for dinner tonight because when I drove past it, it was backed up pretty far, but I almost did. But anyway, so we hamburgers and chicken sandwiches, man, it's a presidential feast. So, yes, for anyone that isn't watching us live, that is listening to this later, we're recording this on, as I'm sure you've probably seen on social media, the 21st day of the 21st year of the 21st century.
Nice.
Apparently, if you count 2000. So, sure, we'll go for that.
Sure, why not?
Yeah, why not? Otherwise, you have to wait till next year to say that, and people go, "Oh wait, no, it is 2021. Oh my god." I'll be okay. I will, I promise. You believe me? Anyway,
We're gonna nod our heads and say yes.
yeah. So yeah, that's today. That's what we're recording on. And yesterday, here in the United States, we turned the corner and we got a new presidential like thing, the whole shebang, and we're all feeling slightly more positive than we have in the past. So yay!
Anywhere from slightly to enormously. So yes,
Yeah.
but when it's a really low floor, so
Yeah, like the bar is so low you couldn't trip over it unless you were really trying to trip over it. But that's not what we're here to talk about. We're here to talk about more Kaldheim. Because Kaldheim. It's also fun to say. Excuse me. So, I also just burpy tonight. I apologize. I am so sorry. I'm just gonna be just throughout the night. I don't know why. She swallowed a fly. I guess she'll die.
no dying. Not now, when the world has so much promise. If you were gonna die, you should have died the other day. Jeez. Get with the program.
Get with the program. Anyway, so let us talk about some gods, because we only talked about, I think, 2 last week.
Yeah. We talked about the one that was also a
sword,
a planeswalker.
Oh, yeah.
And
Yeah,
we talked about the one that was a sword.
Yeah, we talked about what's his name, Valky,
Halvar,
who is Tybalt, and Halvar, who is a shiny sword.
Which, okay, I know we're going to talk about gods. Can we talk about one non-god card first?
Sure.
Okay. I was literally just kind of skimming over some of the cards now that the full card image gallery is here, and I saw something interesting in some flavor text. So this was kind of a deep dive here. Go to blue and look at Icebind Pillar. This is kind of an interesting take on Icy Manipulator. So Icebind Pillar for 2 and a blue is a snow artifact. It's one of those newfangled colored artifacts we got. It's an uncommon. It has pay a snow and tap to tap target artifact or creature. So that's kind of interesting. The flavor text, though, hints that there actually is a real Valky. He's just being replaced by Tybalt, because it says, quote, "Oh, Valky, I'm disappointed in you. How could the god of lies be so gullible?" Tybalt. I was literally just skimming through the cards before we got started, and I'm like, oh, that's cool. It's not a storyline spotlight. It's just a little nugget. So, so there really is a Valky.
So it looks like Tybalt somehow tricked Valky and trapped him in an icebind pillar, and then took his place.
That's what it looks like to me.
That's cool.
Which it's easier than to fool the other gods and the mortals if you're already working off of something that was there instead of like Valky. Never heard of him, you know.
Yes. Hello, fellow gods. I am also God. I know we've never met.
So there you go.
That's a good catch. I like it.
And not to mention, this is kind of an interesting take on a new Icy. It's a cold, snowy Icy. So, but now to real gods.
Oh yeah.
So how do you want to tackle this? Just go straight down the line?
Like they're all double-faced, right?
Yeah.
Yes.
They are all double-faced.
Wait, no, Brian, there's one more card that we need to do first.
Okay, what's that?
Okay, this was for you.
Okay.
Okay, on the left side of the screen. Go to multicolor.
Multicolor.
And find find Herald. You remember Herald? Find Herald.
Yeah. Herald, White Castle? Yes.
Yeah, we read Herald last week.
Yes, and he's got a saga. Is that what you want to talk about?
No, I want to talk about the next card over.
Okay. Emmersterm Predator. I don't think I'd seen this one. For 2 and a black and a red. It's a 3/3 creature vampire dragon. It's a vampire dragon? It's a vampire dragon.
The best kind of dragon.
But I didn't get you anything. Oh. Okay.
Someone dropped it in the Discord, and I was like, "Brian's gonna crap."
Okay, now I love Vampiric Dragon, but Vampiric Dragon is kind of clumsy, so already this one costs like what, half of that? It's a 3/3 with flying. Whenever it becomes tapped, exile up to 1 target card from a graveyard, and put a +1/+1 counter on Emmersterm Predator. So whenever it becomes tapped, like when it attacks, or if they're like, well, in response, tap it, you exile up to 1 target card from a graveyard, and even if there isn't one to exile, you put a +1/+1 counter on this. So it starts getting bigger all the time, forever. Okay. And that the exile up to 1 is a pure benefit, and it can disrupt some of the stuff they want to do. All right, I'm not seeing the downside yet. Sacrifice another creature. Emerson Predator gains indestructible until end of turn, and tap it, which then causes it to get a +1/+1 counter. This is ridiculous.
Eat something in a graveyard.
Yes, maybe if for some reason, if you wanted to exile the creature you just sacrificed, you could. Maybe, if that's what you're going for. But, wow, this seems kind of good. Sorry, Vampiric Dragon, but this is just better. What were we going to say, Mike?
I was going to say, when I first read this, I didn't pick up on the fact that the +1/+1 counter wasn't connected in any way to whether or not you actually exile the card.
Right. It doesn't say if you do. Yeah.
Well,
no. So every turn, this is getting a +1/+1 counter. The only reason this is not getting a +1/+1 counter is if they have a 4/4 flyer or bigger, and you don't want to just run this into it. Otherwise, you should be attacking with this every turn, and even if they have out some sort of master decoy type effect, or icy pillar or whatever, it's still getting bigger. And as long as you have cannon fodder around, they can't kill it.
Seems pretty good.
Thank you, Chewy. I appreciate that. I didn't get you anything.
Well, I'm glad you like it. They said, I think it was Stark who dropped it in the the Discord. I was like, Vampire Dragon isn't a type line I expected to see this week. And I went,
Good catch.
yay. Okay, so gods.
I mean, what is a god to a vampiric dragon? You know, right? Like, I mean, come
could
on.
be a light snack.
True. So we did do Halvar.
Yeah, who is Halvar? Like,
He's the god
what's
of
the
battle.
Norse equivalent?
God of battle. Oh, I don't know. I'm not very well versed on
Maybe Tyr.
Yeah.
My guess would be Tyr.
Okay. I don't
Tyr
actually...
was
I'm not as well versed in Norse mythology as I used to be.
Tyr was a god of battle, and he was known for his nobility. Like, when he said something, you knew it to be true. Honor and all that good stuff. When it came time
All that
to
good stuff.
when it came time to imprison the giant wolf Fenrir or Fenris, depending on the translation, Fenris wouldn't allow anyone to come near it for fear that he would be bound up. But for a while, they were like, "Hey, try, you big strong wolf, try this leash on," and he's like, "Okay," and he would snap it, and they'd be like, "Good for you." Crap, we need to restrain this thing. They finally had the dwarves make the best binding thing ever, and he wouldn't put it on until Tyr was like, "I will let you hold my mouth."
No, his
Wrong
hand
way.
in his
My
mouth.
hand in your mouth, not the other way around. While they put this on, and if you can't get out of it, you know, you can have my hand. And he lost a hand that day, but he held true to his word. So my guess is Tyr. It's not Odin because we see Odin later on this list. Okay.
And Odin
This
wasn't
next,
really a war god anyway.
what's that?
And Odin wasn't really a war god anyway.
Yeah.
Right. This next one, I don't know that this next one has an equivalent. Possibly, what's her name? Freya? Possibly Freya.
Yeah, could be.
Okay. Well, who's this next one then?
Redane is god of the worthy. For 2 and a white, 2/3, legendary god, flying and vigilance. Snow lands your opponent's control enter the battlefield tapped. Non-creature spells your opponents cast with converted mana cost 4 or greater cost 2 more to cast. Ouch.
Yeah, she only hits the expensive stuff.
Mm-hmm.
All right.
And then, other side, Valkmira, Protector's Shield, costs 3 and a white for a legendary artifact. Oh, this card is rare, by the way, on both sides. It would be weird if it wasn't the same on both sides.
I feel like we talked about that last time.
Yeah. If a source an opponent controls would deal damage to you or a permanent you control, prevent 1 of that damage. That can be really annoying. And whenever you or another permanent you control becomes the target of a spell or ability an opponent controls, counter that spell or ability unless its controller pays 1. That's the really effective Aegis right here.
Is it Aegis or Aegis?
The
Aegis.
Yeah, Aegis is what I would say, but I don't know whether I've heard
Okay.
someone say it out loud, and I knew for a fact that they knew how to say it.
Yeah, I've always heard either Aegis or Aegis, depending on the person. I've never heard the hard G, though, other than Brian, but that doesn't count.
It usually doesn't. Okay. I mean, it seems pretty straightforward. The front side reminds me of who's the Thalia, right? From Innistrad. Just the like gonna slow down your stuff.
Makes me who's that Kithkin guy? Costs a green and a white. He's a 2/2.
Yeah, I see his art, but I cannot remember his name.
Gaddock Teague.
Gaddock Teague. Right. There we go.
And I am just as surprised as you that I remembered that. But yeah, because it only hits the big stuff. That's a good point. And then the backside, you know, I'm really glad it's legendary because could you imagine how annoying that those abilities would be on a non-legendary permanent.
Good lord. It's like
Yeah.
it's like a super Urza's armor.
Yeah.
Because Urza's armor is just you. But this is you
Yeah,
or a
you
permanent you control.
Mm-hmm.
Plus the whole, extra tax ability. Neat.
Yeah. Okay.
All right.
So, Dark, who does this next god remind you of?
Oh, that would be Odin. So, Alrund. Alrund?
Yeah, hell yeah.
We'll say Alrund. God of the Cosmos, for 3 and 2 blue, is a mythic legendary creature god. That's a 1/1. Alrund gets +1/+1 for each card in your hand and each foretold card you own in exile, which can be really big. At the beginning of your end step, choose a card type. Then reveal the top 2 cards of your library. Put all cards of the chosen type into your hand and the rest on the bottom of your library in any order.
Huh. That's
I'm
really
sorry.
cool. I liked it when... So he's a Morrow.
He's a Morrow with Foretell cards, yeah.
Well, he's a Morrow that's base 1/1. So it's not exactly a Morrow. He's a Morrow +1.
Right.
Essentially. But when you foretell something, he doesn't get smaller.
Yes.
Yeah.
It's when
Because
you...
otherwise it would discourage you from doing one of the things that the set wants you to do.
Yeah.
Which sometimes they do that. They're like, hey, here's this nifty thing, and here's an awesome thing, but it doesn't want you to do those two together, and you're like, getting mixed signals here. Yeah.
I like the design on this. This is neat.
I'm still getting over, and this is a picky thing, but I'm trying to get over how Dirk said that you ran creature god the words together so much. I'm like, creature god, legendary creature god, and I'm like, god of creatures maybe. But I'm just picking on you a little bit, and because I love you. What's the other side of this?
So the other side is Hakka, Whispering Raven. For 1 and a blue, is a 2/3 legendary creature, bird, that obviously is mythic, with flying. Whenever Hakka, Whispering Raven, deals combat damage to a player, return to its owner's hand, then scry 2.
Now, I wasn't trying to imply that you had to draw every word out, but I appreciate that.
Get it.
So you play the bird goes and does damage to a player. You look at those 2 cards. You look at those top 2 cards. Then you play Alrund, and you get to look, and you hopefully have picked either those are the card types you want, so you get them, and then you do all the shenanigans to make them big.
Yeah, like that's...
He really sets up his other half well, because the fact that he bounces himself, you just keep hitting with this until you're ready to play him as a god.
Yeah, and what Odin's ravens did was go out into the world and find things, information, and bring it back and tell him.
Mm-hmm.
And that's what Hakka does. It goes out into the world, and it gets information, and it comes back. Oh, that's so cool.
And it's like, hey, you're never going to believe what I saw. And it would, I'm so sorry about this. It would tweet at him.
Okay,
Yeah,
that was pretty good.
No, it really wasn't. I mean, I appreciate the thought.
Oh, God. I appreciated it. I thought that was pretty good.
So yeah, this one's pretty awesome.
Yeah. Okay.
All right. You know what? We got one here that I actually haven't read before. It's this next one. I saw that earlier when I was just passing through things, I said, "Oh, cool, a god I hadn't seen," but I'm literally reading it for the first time on here. So this is Kazima or Kazima, I think Kazuma, god of the voyage. Notice, we're not distinguishing god and goddess, right? It's just they're all straight gods.
Yeah, Magic doesn't make that distinction on the cards.
Okay. So for 2 and a blue, this is a legendary god. It's a 2/4, and it's rare. Some of these have been, rare, and some have been mythic. At the beginning of your upkeep, you may exile Kazima. If you do, it gains whenever a land enters the battlefield under your control. If Kazima is exiled, you may put a voyage counter on it. Okay, maybe I picked the wrong card. If you don't put the voyage counter on it, return Kazima to the battlefield with X+1/+1 counters on it, and draw X cards, where X is the number of voyage counters on it. So the further they go, the more they've learned. That's trippy. It's super wordy. Okay, so
It really is.
okay, I play this out. Next turn, I'm like, I'm gonna send. Is this a man or woman? Do we think? What do we think?
It's whatever.
I
can't tell.
High quality enough.
Okay, maybe it's clear in the variant. It doesn't matter. It's a piece of cardboard, but I was just curious. I will use they for pronouns. So you send them off. Then every time you play a land, you have the choice of either keep them out there or bring them back. And the longer it takes to bring them back, the more +1/+1 counters they come back with, along with drawing you cards. And of course, Dirk, who loves the green-blue, if you find extra ways to play additional lands during your turn, you get additional benefits faster. But even without that, if you're just like, hey, or when you're ready to have a person back, which, I mean, it's already a 2/4, you put out, 2 lands? You've got a 4/6, that draws you 2 cards. It's pretty good, and anything more than that is even better.
Well, that'll be on your 3rd land.
That's true, because you have to play a land to then choose to bring her back, or him. I don't know. I'm thinking it's feminine, but I'm not sure. But yeah, you have to play that 3rd land to then say, "Hey, Kazuma, get back here." All right. Whew. It's a vehicle.
That's really cool. Oh yeah, there's a backside.
Yeah.
It's the little thing at the bottom says vehicle, and for 1 and a blue, so we'll flip it over. We got the Omen Keel for 1 and a blue. It is a legendary artifact vehicle. When it's turned on, so to speak, it is a 3/3, and it has crew of 1. So that's pretty minimal to ship.
Wow.
I guess you only need, you don't have to be really strong to man it, whatever. Whenever a vehicle you control, not just this one, deals combat damage to a player, that player exiles that many cards from the top of their library. You may play lands from among those cards for as long as they remain exiled.
Ah.
Cool.
It's going to help you voyage. And, if you assume that someone's land is X percentage of their deck, usually not half, but a good amount, there's a good chance that you're going to hit some land eventually while you're, hitting them for 3. Or if you've got another every time a vehicle, not to mention if you're just like, hey, want to go with the mill route? I mean, I don't know how effective it would be because it's kind of slow, but, you could go that way because this counts every time. If you attack with 3 vehicles, they all get through. That's 3 cards. Yeah, it's not great, but this is one where I'd have a hard time deciding which side I really want to have out. I guess it depends on the board state, but this is a really interesting card. What do you guys think?
I think you should play them both. one up and one down.
That is a good choice because then you get more lands.
Yeah, I would say play the vehicle side, and when you're kind of good and everything, you can just ram it into something, and then if you have some way of returning it, you play the other side, and you can start playing. If you run into a dry spot with lands, you just start playing their lands.
So Dirk plays a vehicle, talks about ramming it into things, and I have Dirk in my head saying, perhaps today is a good day to play.
Ramming speed.
Neat.
Yeah. All right. Who's next?
I guess that's me. Have I read a god yet?
No? Well,
Not yet.
Oh, okay.
and you always had much as Dirk is the green player in our group for a long time, you had kind of the auspicious, you were the black player, basically. You, Nether Shadow, all that, you kind of had that reputation. So
Yeah.
here, you take the god of death. It feels right.
So Egon, god of death.
Is it supposed to be Egon?
I mean,
I
that's what it
guess
says.
so.
Yeah, Egon is a traditional name, a rare name, but
That's
So-
like, you know, Ray, god of screwing things up. What'd you do, Ray? Anyway, Egon,
If
god of
someone
death.
asks if you're a god, Egon.
Egon, god of death, for 2 and a black, is a 6/6 god. That's pretty good.
For 3? Yeah, okay, I remember seeing this last week. Keep going.
Huh, okay, it's rare.
I forgot what it did.
6/6 with Death Touch. You know, super necessary. But at the beginning of your upkeep, exile 2 cards from your graveyard. If you can't, sacrifice Egon and draw a card. Ah, yes. That makes sense. Oh, the flavor text says Egon ages backward, his wisdom soured by youthful spite. Ha! That's Benjamin Button looking. Oh, I mean, what? But hey, a 6/6 for 3 with Death Touch. You shouldn't need too many turns with that. I'm just saying.
no. But having that much ammo ready to back the draw back up, it isn't as easy as it sounds sometimes.
Yeah. So let's see what the backside is. The Throne of Death for a single black legendary artifact. At the beginning of your upkeep, mill a card. Nice. Just
Thank you.
from you?
Yeah?
Well, it doesn't
Beginning
specify,
of your
so
upkeep, mill a card.
I guess that means from your library?
I think it.
Yeah, it means you. If it was someone else, it would be
It would be
target
targeted.
opponent
Yeah.
or target
Yeah.
player. or
You mill your cards, other opponents mill their cards.
Yes.
Okay. And then for 2 and a black and tap and exile a creature card from your graveyard, draw a card. Huh. So early in the game, it's dig through your deck faster, and then later in the game is a 6/6 with Death Touch.
Yeah.
All right, seems good.
Yeah.
Not great, but seems good.
And the flip side helps you go through your deck really quickly. Between milling and then drawing additional cards. This feels like a very Mike card. Because in the right setup, your stuff in your graveyard is just as available for you to use as the cards that you draw.
hmm
Yeah.
So, yeah.
Also, Egon, for anyone else who's played Hades, Egon is giving off serious Thanatos energy.
Mhm.
Like the same look in his eye, the same scythe, you know. God of Death, you know. Although Thanatos isn't God of Death, Thanatos is death. But, you know, whatever.
sometimes the distinction is a little harder to parse out. Well, yeah, I mean, how do you seriously, how do you represent death as an aspect versus a god of death? It can be a little tricky for the nuances. So
Just have a throne of death. Yeah. Sit on his chair and shut up.
it's a nice chair.
Well, I mean, it does offer all the warmth and comfort of the grave, according to the flavor text, so. All right. So how about this other black god?
I'll take it.
All right.
Okay,
go ahead.
Go ahead, Mike.
No, you said it first.
Okay.
1, 2, 3, not
All
it.
right. Turgrid.
I'm touching my nose.
Turgrid, God of Fright. For 3 and 2 black. This one is a 4/5 legendary creature. God. That's rare.
Thank you.
And has menace. Whenever an opponent sacrifices a non-token permanent or discards a permanent card, you may put that card from a graveyard onto the battlefield under your control.
Ooh.
Whoa.
Yeah, I about to say, tell me, did I read that wrong, or did
Isn't
I read that right?
isn't that it that betrays, which costs 9?
Sorta?
Or maybe that
Yeah,
also takes
But
it
if that
when you.
betrays also has a built-in way to make your opponent sacrifice things.
Oh darn. Oh well. I mean, I get that's good, but this is the more important part of that. If you have to lose half of that, okay. And it's still a 4/5 with menace for 5. So
Nothing to laugh at. All right, so the other side of it is Turgrid's Lantern. For 3 and a black, legendary artifact. It says tap. Target player loses 3 life unless they sacrifice a non-land permanent or discard a card.
Nice.
And for 3 and a black, untap Turgrid's Lantern.
Holy crap. Speaking of gods that you want to have both halves out at once, Jesus.
yeah, I mean, obviously the two feed into each other. But I'm just even thinking, like, even if you only get one copy in limited, because it's a rare. But this side is interesting. While the god is arguably a bit stronger at just winning you the game, this is fantastic for those games where you end up in a stall, because you're just going to be like, all right, end of your turn, I already get a free activation, and then probably another one, and then by the time you're able to untap it twice, they're never going to be able to come back, and you're going to slowly, like, even if you're drawing lands, they're drawing lands, you're going to start pulling ahead. So I'm, as a limited player, a lot of games end up in a stall situation, and things that can break you out of that are very ideal, and this feels like an all-star for that. So yeah,
I was thinking the same thing. This is just crushing in limited play.
Yeah, in other formats it's still good, but anytime you give the opponent a choice and it's only one opponent at a time, definitely the god side is much stronger, because at a multiplayer table, people are going to have to sacrifice stuff from time to time, period. This does say a non-token permanent.
But you was going to have to discard things because he kept a bad opening hand.
Well, I'm just thinking
That's what I do.
this is going to be awesome just for, like, Evolving Wilds, because that's a non-token permanent.
I also really like the flavor text on the lantern. When Turgrid was a child, her shadow tried to kill her. Only her lantern keeps it at bay.
Whoa. That's
It's
I
freaking
hadn't
dark.
read that. Yeah.
Plus, she's a ginger, and she's scary. I don't like this stereotype. Yeah, she's
But-
fun. I like her.
Yeah. All right, we did Valky, or table
Yeah.
posing as Valky, I guess.
Bergie?
Yeah,
Yeah.
I would say Birgi.
Birgi.
Birgi, god of storytelling. For 2 and a red is a 3/3. That's cool. Rare legendary god. Whenever you cast a spell, add 1 red mana. Until end of turn, you don't lose this mana as steps and phases end. Creatures you control can boast twice during each of your turns rather than once.
Huh.
Oh, because God of Storytelling.
Mhm.
Yeah.
Oh, I like it.
I once caught a fish this big. Then you turn around and you're like, I also caught a fish this big.
Well, because when you're storytelling, you have to embellish a bit. So,
Yeah.
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 All right, what's on the backside?
Okay, the backside is actually kind of frightening. So, Hornfell, Horn of Bounty, for 4 and a red, it's a legendary artifact. Discard a card. Exile the top 2 cards of your library. You may play those cards this turn.
What?
Whoa!
This feels like a day 1 ban. I mean, it costs 5, but like in an eternal format, this I mean, right? I mean, what?
Yeah, I don't think it's quite that big.
No. But I
mean, if
have
I got this card, I would just-
concerns.
Yeah, if I got this card, I would put it in my Fumiko commander deck and just keep it turned to this side in the sleeve.
I mean, the God of Storytelling, that's fine, obviously. And whenever you cast a spell, add red. That's, oh dear lord, you have both of these out.
And horrible things happen.
Yeah, you
Yeah.
can do some silly stuff here.
But I mean, I'm honestly thinking even without the front side, I get maybe it's more of a jerk reaction, knee jerk, or just like a me being a jerk kind of reaction. But there seems to be some potential for discard a card, kind of sort of draw 2 cards. Because, Necro wasn't good enough. We'll put
It
in
helps
red.
that red isn't terribly good at drawing cards by itself.
Well, it
So
wasn't.
eventually, you're gonna run out because you can't
Mhm.
discard cards anymore.
Well, in this set, red is meant to have a synergy with blue for the giant stuff. So there are red and blue cards that are made to put in a deck. So you can get help.
Yeah.
Yeah,
I don't know.
I don't think it's ban worthy in any way whatsoever because it still costs 5.
I mean, the fact that
It
it costs 5, that's probably the biggest thing. I'm definitely exaggerating when I say, day 1 ban. I'm just saying, keep an eye on this one. Kind of feels like.
Yeah, Mike, you're the one who called the from the 4 of us. You're the one that called the.
Oh, Fires of Invention?
That's the one.
Yeah.
Yeah. All right. So next we've got Terelf, God of Fury. Terelf?
Torolf.
Torolf, God of Fury. For 2 and 2 red, he is a 5/4 legendary creature god. He is mythic, and he's a 5/4 with trample. Take that, worms of various sizes.
And
Whenever
this is Thor, by the way.
Yeah, this is totally Thor. Whenever a creature or planeswalker an opponent controls is dealt excess non-combat damage, Terelf deals damage equal to the excess to any target other than that permanent, not even necessarily that permanent's controller. You just throw it somewhere else.
Yeah, he turns all of your spells into like a weird, not the
Weird,
magic card,
chainy
but the
lightning.
idea,
Yeah.
chain lightning.
Yes. So I play a burn spell that deals 6 damage, and he has out a 2/2 and a 1/1. I target the 2/2. It's going to deal 2 damage to it. 4 is remaining. I'm then going to target the 1/1. It's going to deal 1. 3 is remaining. So I have 3 more damage to aim at their face.
Yeah, and because Terelf is a creature, and it doesn't say whenever another creature, it does keep going.
Yeah. Yeah. As long as it's non-combat damage, not when he attacks and, they block, but...
Oh, wait, yeah, that's... Sorry, ignore the creature or planeswalker bit. That's the target. I'm dumb.
That's the target, yeah.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, he turns all your damage into... Well, like I said, a chain lightning that bounces around until it runs out of juice.
And, in multiplayer, nothing's to stop you from being like, I'm going to deal this to Mike's creature. And Mike's like, aw. But then, I'm also going to kill Mike's other creatures. He's like, aw. And then I'll kill Chewy's creature. So.
And then Chewy goes, that was a lightning out of the blue.
Ba-dum-bum. That's so cool.
And then on the other side, we have Terelf's hammer. This is totally not meow meow, as that girl said in the Thor movie.
That girl, yes, that was her name too.
Yeah. For 1 and a red, it is a legendary artifact equipment. I wasn't super thrilled with this one when I read it originally, but then I kind of got where it was going. It's just a bit mana intensive, so follow me here. So for 1 and a red, it is a legendary artifact equipment. It equips for 1 and a red, and the equipped creature has pay 1 and a red, tap the creature, and unattach Terelf's hammer. It deals 3 damage to any target. Return Terelf's hammer to its owner's hand. So it lightning bolts something. The equipped creature gets +3/+0 as long as it's legendary. So it's a Bone Splitter as long as the creature is legendary, which goes to show you how dumb Bone Splitter is, or was. Or was Bone Splitter only +2? Okay, so this is better than that. But, so I'm reading this and I'm like, that's super mana intensive because you pay 4 mana to get it onto the creature and then another 2 to activate that ability. But it reminds me of Hammer of Bogarden in that it just never stops. So as long as you have the mana, it's repeatable.
And the hammer, to do a full cycle, costs 8 mana.
Does it?
Mm-hmm.
Whereas this costs 6, but you also have to have a creature to throw.
And the hammer
ends
up being a total of... The hammer ends up requiring a total of 5 red mana specifically and 3 other.
Yeah. Ooh. So,
also, the cool thing about Terelf's hammer is you can throw it at someone, and then Terelf shows up instead of the hammer. So it gives you a neat way to turn it into a 5/4 with trample.
Yeah, it's like Hakka turning into Elrond.
Yeah.
It's like, wait, that's not what I was dealing with a second ago. Like, no, it's really not. So, yeah. Okay.
But ding.
Pretty cool.
But yeah, it's a really cool design. Plus, you get to work in throwing Mjolnir at things flavorfully. Which is always a plus.
This reminds me of, what was it, Arcblade? Wasn't Arcblade the one that, it went into
The Arcblade's the one that's what's
Suspend and
suspend.
was it
And
suspend?
whenever it came down, it would just come out and just hit something and then go back into suspend.
yeah.
Not suspend.
Yes.
Is it suspend?
Mhm.
What's the thing?
No, Arcblade that he's thinking of was suspend, but there was another hammer variant in Future Sight that I can't remember the name of anymore.
I can't either for some reason.
Well,
can see-
we're all getting older.
That's true.
Beats the alternative. Okay.
Yeah, getting younger like Egon.
Exactly. I never saw Benjamin Button.
Me either, because it was like a 3-hour movie.
Something like that. Yeah.
Yeah.
All right.
So the next one is Esika.
Jessica,
Whoops. Something like
Jessica, Jessica, but without the J.
that? Maybe? I don't actually know how you'd say that. These
I'm
all
gonna say
sound good to me,
Esika.
though.
All right. Well, I'm going to say Esika. So, God of the Tree. So, for 1 and 2 green, it's a 1/4 legendary creature. That's a god. And is mythic with vigilance. And has tap, add 1 mana of any color.
Nice.
Also says other legendary creatures you control have vigilance and tap, add 1 mana of any color.
Nice.
Super Friends. Okay.
All right. So, I mean, that's pretty simple, straightforward. Now, the reverse side is Prismatic Bridge. For Wooburg,
Ah.
it is a legendary enchantment and says at the beginning of your upkeep, reveal cards from the top of your library until you reveal a creature or planeswalker card. Put that card onto the battlefield and the rest on the bottom of your library in a random order. Does seem to be a theme of, yeah, we're just going to let you play stuff for, free.
Definitely feels like a. So I think this card is neat. I should say that. I think over the years I've gotten more and more bored with random, like, just play your good stuff decks that doesn't have any type of other theme, right? Just like, here's all my neat stuff. And I get, as a player, I'm like, I have all this neat stuff and I want to play it. And here's a card that lets you play the best stuff for free. So I get the appeal. I just think that I'm getting old and crotchety. And when I'm like, oh, look, it's, Progenitus again, or just the best Wooburg cards again, I'm like, it doesn't excite me the way that something honestly a little more narrow and takes a little more work to do would, but that's personal preference. So, okay.
Yeah, this is another one that I would just keep turned this way in the sleeve, I think.
Yeah.
Since Dark made a comment in the chat about the Asika side. Hey, Kanda, king of Kamigawa and the one who stole the child of essentially God. Do you mind tapping for mana for me? I really need blue.
Oh, yeah, like
He's a good guy.
all the Kamigawa decks. Yeah, this just would go beautifully in those.
Well, Dirk, I think the point was that he's a giant butt hat, and and she's like, "You want to help me?" And he's like, "Have a blue." I don't know why I'm doing this.
It's a neat card, though.
Mm-hmm.
I like that it's another 5-color legendary or a 5-colored commander for, like, the legendary creatures deck.
Mm-hmm.
Because that was, like, the only problem with the original Sisei was that only 2 colors. Boo.
Yeah. Definitely fills that role pretty well.
Yeah. All right. So next up we have Yorn, God of Sexy. I mean Winter. I meant sexy. For 2 and a green, Yorn is a legendary snow creature god who is a 3/3 and says whenever Yorn attacks, Untap each snow permanent you control. Oh,
Oh,
that seems good with snowlands,
wow.
doesn't it?
3/3 for 3 with an upside. It's got pseudo vigilance and also like possibly really important half of
Oh, right.
Sword of Feast and Famine on it. Yeah, that's probably fine.
Was that Feast and Famine? No. Was
Yes,
it?
that untaps lands. Mm-hmm.
Yep.
Oh, that's the green-black one. Yeah, there we go.
Yep.
Okay.
Which did some other stuff, but it was really the fact that it untapped all your lands
Yeah.
that made it potent. But that was also blue. This card isn't blue.
I mean, it is, technically.
It is.
Yeah. On the
I know,
backside
I'm hamming it up. Keep going.
is Cauldring the Rhyme Staff. I'm sorry, Cauldring the Rhyme Staff. For 1, a blue and a black. That's a legendary snow artifact. And it says tap. You may play target snow permanent card from your graveyard this turn. If you do, it enters the battlefield tapped.
So if I get this card, I'm not necessarily going to keep it in sleeve this side face up all the time because Yorn is pretty darn awesome.
Mm-hmm.
But I feel like a lot of the time this is going to be the side.
Yeah, this is one where you can really feel this one is one side is definitely more for early game, one side is definitely more for late game when you're just trying to finally overwhelm your opponent and grind them out.
Now, point of order. Mike, since you're the rules guy.
Yes.
All of these, the god side is the side that is face up in your graveyard if the card goes to your graveyard.
Yes.
So for every modal double-faced card, the side with the one little triangle on it is the default front side. That's always what it's supposed to be when it's not on the stack or on the battlefield. I was really just jokingly saying, I'm just going to keep it turned to the back in the sleeve because that's the way I'm going to capture.
Oh no, I know.
You're not really supposed to do that.
I know, and I'm not writing it on you. I'm just saying for point of order, like if something targets something in your graveyard, it's
a creature card.
It is a creature card.
It's a green creature card. Mm-hmm.
Yeah, that's it. I wasn't trying to be like, oh, you can't do that. We all understood.
I know, but I wanted to say to make it clear.
All right, you feel better now? Conscience cleared?
Yes.
Good. Well then, why don't you tell us about this last god?
Wait, can we just appreciate how sexy Yorn is one more time?
Yeah.
As Chet points out, even that ferret is like, damn, so sexy. And then there's a ferret back here in the back who's like, is he sexy as I think from the front? Damn. Anyway. I'm just saying, this art makes me feel feelings.
Have you discovered something today?
Not really. No. Rediscovered, maybe?
There you go. It's like, it doesn't count as discovering if you knew it all along.
Yeah.
Okay.
Alright, so last god. Who's reading that?
Well, I thought Mike was, but I'll jump on it. So,
okay. Kolvori, God of Kinship. For 2 green, legendary creature god. A 2/4. As long as you control 3 or more legendary creatures, Kolvori gets +4/+2 and has vigilance. Awesome. So if you have friends, 6/6 vigilance for 4. You can pay 1 and a green and tap. Look at the top 6 cards of your library. You may reveal a legendary creature card from among them and put it into your hand, and the rest on the bottom in a random order.
I've always liked those cards that have that kind of effect. So, like, just, especially in green, the whole, like, hey, is there a creature coming up? There is. It's mine now. Feels like a very good play. even if she didn't have vigilance, it's probably a good play to wait and do that. But obviously, if you thought Esika or Isika wanting to play with legendaries, Kolvori is like legendaries. Let me tell you about legendaries. They're probably really good friends, is my guess. You might even say they might be very good friends. So, okay.
Okay. The other side is a legendary artifact. The Ringheart Crest costs 1 and a green. As it enters the battlefield, choose a creature type. You can tap it to add 1 green mana. Spend this mana only to cast a creature spell of the chosen type, or a legendary creature spell. That's good. A mana rock for just 2 mana that doesn't come in tapped.
Yeah.
That's good stuff.
It's not super exciting like some of these others, but it's just good. And the fact that you can always use it for a legendary creature spell, regardless of the type that you choose, if you're a little more diversified, is good. I feel like this wants you to play with legendary spells and creatures.
Not sure why you would think that.
I don't know. I don't know. So those are all the gods.
Those are all the gods. It's good stuff.
Unless you want to turn something else into a god. Look at the lands.
Look at the lands.
And look at their in alphabetical order. Go to T for Tyrite.
Oh, I'm still in the double faced. I was like, what are you talking about?
I
Okay.
did the same thing.
Oh, I'm glad I'm not the only one then.
So the Tyrite Sanctum is a land. It's rare. You can tap it for a colorless mana, a waste mana. You can pay 2 and tap the Tyrite Sanctum. Target legendary creature becomes a god in addition to its other types. Put a +1/+1 counter on it. And then for 4 and tap and sacrifice Tyrite Sanctum, put an indestructible counter on target god.
Interesting.
So it's interesting. You have to choose a legendary creature to begin with. I guess you can't just make your random 1/1 soldier token into a god. Poor guy. Random legendary guy, you're a god now.
Someone should have told Xenagos that this was all he needed to do.
He was on the wrong plane. He was on the wrong plane. He just had to come and find this land. Does this land, maybe there's trials you have to go through for this land. Maybe, it's like you could do this, but no one ever really gets to. Turns out you just need 2 colorless mana. Okay.
Seems good.
Seems a little easier, right? I think you could have some fun with this lore-wise of just you know what? Flibblethip is a god now.
Fibblethip has always been a god in some of our hearts.
That's true. Hans, like Hans, can be a god.
Oh, then the Lurgoyf can't eat him. Nice.
Squee, where's my Squee at? Squee can be a god.
He might still be working. You want me to poke him?
Sure. Stark says, my personal ruling is if you use this to make your legendary a god, you also have to explain what your creature is now a god of. And I fully approve.
I like it.
I like that.
That is now canon. So
it's gonna be in the comp rules.
In the release note. Yeah.
Somebody just name a random legendary, just right off the top of your head. Don't even think about it. Gristlebrand.
Damn it, you beat me to it.
Gristlebrand, god of hurting you, or something. But he heals you too.
Doesn't Gristlebrand not have hands? So he could
Correct.
be the god of not hands. not having any hands.
The god of no hands.
You gotta say
The
no
god
hands,
of how did he put his pants on?
You gotta say no hands, not hands, because then I'm kind of thinking of like twisted up hands. Like, how did my hands get like this?
He could be the god of Butterfingers. So being
How do I hold all these
Butterfingers.
cards?
All right, this went to a weird place, and I don't like it.
So what's another card you want to talk? Do you want to hit the remaining mythics? You just want to look around for neat stuff?
Man, did we talk about the Sarulf last week?
I don't know what that is.
The Realm Eater, the wolf?
Big wolf.
We did not. We did not. We came up to it. We did not. We were like deciding to stop. We
Okay,
did
so
not
let's see.
cover.
How would you say that? That's like Sarulf, right?
Probably.
Sarulf, Realm Eater. For one, a black and a green is the Fenris or Fenrir analog. A 3/3 legendary wolf that's rare. Whenever a permanent an opponent controls is put into a graveyard from the battlefield, put a +1/+1 counter on Sarulf. All right. Nice. What is that? That's the old the black-green trope. When things die, they get this gets bigger.
Yes.
Mhm.
So it's like the with
Vulture
the
Zombie
vampire
was from
abilities.
anywhere.
Vulture Zombie is from everywhere and anywhere and
Well,
all the
yeah, but I'm saying
places.
that's a thing that happens with black-green creatures.
Yes.
Yep.
Yeah, okay, so there's more. At the beginning of your upkeep, if Sarulf has one or more +1/+1 counters on it, you may remove all of them. Okay. If you do, exile each other non-land permanent with converted mana cost less than or equal to the number of counters removed this way. Holy crap! Wow, Realm Eater indeed. Wow, the less than or equal to just makes that painful.
Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah, so it's also got a Pernicious Deed thrown in there.
Yeah!
Yep. But it also doesn't ever remove itself.
What's
Exile
the word?
each other.
What's the word I'm looking for here? I think that word is humph.
I thought you were gonna say ratchet palm.
Well, that too, yeah, but the verb would be humph, as it. Ha! Wolf's down. Everything in its
Oh,
path. I do like the tension that you have to trade size to do that, but I think that's a trade that's good.
Yeah. That just makes it so it's
Yeah.
not overpowered.
Yeah.
But if you
And-
don't want to, you could just have, like a 6/6 or 7/7 beater.
Well, and it's not like it's a base 1/1 anyway. It's still gonna be a 3/3. So even when the shields are down, they're not like way, way, way down.
So yeah, I like this. This is cool.
Yep.
Agreed.
So what is this card that Chad is asking about? Finn? What's a
Yeah,
Finn?
talking about cool cards. Huh?
Where's Finn?
Oh.
Finn.
I don't know. Chat asked if we talked about Finn the Fangbearer.
Not yet.
What color is that?
I don't remember. Green? Yeah, green. Just green.
Mono green? Oh, I thought I looked there. Did I look there? Oh, obviously not. Oh, yeah, this one. We did not. Holy crap. Hey, Brian, have you seen Finn?
No.
Excuse
And
me.
you said it's mono green?
Yeah.
That's an F, not a PH.
Yeah. It's literally
Yeah,
the
Find
only
it
card that
faster
starts with
on the-
F.
on the variant.
Finn, the Fang Bearer, for 1 and a green, is a legendary human warrior. 1/3 Death Touch. It's uncommon Death Touch. Whenever a creature you control with Death Touch deals combat damage to a player that. What?
Finish it out.
Finish
What if I don't want to? Dude, I showed that movie to Sam on Monday.
Oh, did she find it gloriously cheesy?
A little bit. I think she's been raised on the MCU movies, so she's a little like, eh. But I'm really just showing her 1 to get to 2. So,
Makes
and then
sense.
I guess we'll do 3. So that player gets 2 poison counters. This feels super weird because unless I'm mistaking things, this is the only mention of poison counters in the set.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. I don't like it.
I
But I
saw it
guess
pointed out, I think it was in our Discord, that having just a random poison thing here or there is probably better than having poison be like an entire mechanic of a set.
Probably. I guess I've gotten jaded on the whole mechanic in general just because I don't like the fact that Morrow made a point of saying like you shouldn't really be able to take the counters away, and literally every other win condition of the game is something that you can interact with, and you can't really. And no, I don't count. What is that awful white spell? Leeches. I don't count leeches because no. So I think. And again, not trying to be a crotchety old man. I think I'm just like, I don't think I like poison. It being in small doses, probably better. And here, it's interesting. It says it gives it to basically it gives infect, kinda, sorta, not really, to creatures you control with Death Touch. No matter how much damage they deal, the opponent gets 2 poison counters. So it's not like, oh, my 6/6 trampler gives you 6, so that's good.
Yeah.
Maybe I'm just too. I've just been hurt too much. I've been poisoned too much. And maybe the fact that it's in a set with freaking Vorinclex, so that each one of those becomes 4 counters instead, that I'm like, nope, just nope.
And the flavor text says, "Come, Coma, and reclaim what you lost. Or does the great serpent fear a rematch?" Apparently, he actually took a tooth off of the freaking what's it called?
The like Cosmos Serpent.
Yeah, EF. I can't spell. G8. I can't spell. There it is. Is Coma not blue?
It's green and blue.
Green and blue.
Oh, it's green and blue. No wonder I can't find it. Yeah, Coma Cosmos Serpent. Apparently, Finn actually managed to take a tooth off of it in a fight somehow, which is impressive considering he's a 1/3.
Yeah. I'm not going to go into what happens for spoiler reasons, but in the story they've released, Nico goes to Starnheim, goes to Valhalla, and he's like, hey, something bad's going to happen. And the Valkyries are like, we got this. And Coma showed up, and they're like, holy crap, we don't got this. So, like, all the angels in the angel realm were like, we're screwed when this one snake showed up. So that should tell you something. And this guy's just like, I got a tooth.
What, don't you want it back? You scared? You big pansy? Oh, I just found another mythic.
There's a couple here we haven't touched on. Yeah.
I
What
just
you
found
got?
Battle Mammoth.
What color's that?
Green.
Okay. What's it do?
I don't know. I just saw Battle Mammoth and saw the orange and went, what? Battle Mammoth sounds like a common. Alright, so Battle Mammoth is a 3 green for a 6/5 elephant. That's mythic. Okay. With trample and foretell of 2 green. So there's that. Whenever a permanent you control becomes the target of a spell or ability an opponent controls, you may draw a card. Oh.
So it has the green sort of like, hey, don't mess with my stuff kind of thing.
Yeah.
All right.
Sorry, I burned down your elephant. Here's some gold.
Takes a lot of burn to burn down the elephant. I'm tripped out. Why does this card have Foretell?
So you can play it on turn 4 instead of 5.
Okay, yeah, that makes sense.
Whew. Just playing my 6/5 that if you try to kill it, I draw a card off of it here on turn 4. Is that a problem?
Buh.
Have
Say again. Buh.
Have we talked about Tybalt's trickery yet? I don't think we have.
We have.
No?
No. Mike, what's this card do?
Oh, this one, yeah.
It does some things. For 1 in red, it's a rare instant. Counter target spell.
In red.
Yeah. But here we go. Choose 1, 2, or 3 at random. Its controller mills that many cards, then exiles cards from the top of their library until they exile a non-land card with a different name than that spell. They may cast that card without paying its mana cost. Then they put the exiled cards on the bottom of their library in random order.
So let me just say, what?
Oh, you know what's funny? Is you can Tybalt's trickery the new spell. Because they can cast it.
Yes, if you have another trickery, you can also trick that one.
Okay, so let's take this one by one. So they cast a spell, and you go counter that. Ha! And then you roll a d6, and you end up with 1, 2, or 3. And then they mill that many. Why? Who knows?
Yeah, I don't know.
So you don't get the top couple. I don't know. To really make it random.
I mean,
guess.
there's a fair... I haven't counted, but it feels like there's a fair number of scry effects in this set. So maybe it's meant to mess with them in that way.
Maybe?
And also there are things in this set that, like having cards in the graveyard and eating cards out of the graveyard. So who knows?
Yeah. So, okay, they play a spell. You go no. And then they mill some number of cards, 1, 2, or 3. And then they flip cards up until they get something different. And then they cast that instead.
Yeah, so they always get a spell. Assuming there's a spell left in their deck to get.
And
Still feel like if you're countering the right thing the first time, it's a hard counter. Like, they can't still get that spell. In fact, they are prohibited from getting another copy of that spell.
yeah, and Stark pointed out, this is not a counterspell in red. This is a Chaos Warp in red, which is already red.
Yeah.
True.
And made another point that the random mill makes it much harder to set yourself up for something ridiculous.
Yeah. Oh, I cast Shock, whereas I'm trying to really get to my, Warp World. So, I've got Warp World somewhere on the top of my deck. Well, maybe you won't get that.
Oh, I get it. To keep you from abusing it for yourself.
Yeah.
To get like a discount.
Yeah.
But
if you really go through the trouble of stacking Warp World under 3 more shocks on the top of your deck, I think you deserve to get the desired result.
I'm still somewhat tripped out by the fact that it is a red spell that says counter target spell. Period. Not da-da-da-da, just counter target spell.
Yeah, there's a whole lot of da-da-da-da-da afterwards, though.
Yes, there is.
And it's funny because if it said, put target spell on the bottom of its owner's library or put target spell into its owner's graveyard, you wouldn't, you'd say that's weird, but it wouldn't strike you the same way.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's another stupid red rare, but it's the way that it starts makes you sit up and pay attention.
Yep.
It's a very strange card.
It is. I found
Did you, though?
I found a red card with Boast that has no flavor text because it didn't really have room.
What?
Yeah.
Where?
In red.
Yeah, you said that part.
Yeah.
The Dragonkin Berserker. For 1 and a red, it is a 2/2 human berserker. It is rare. It has first strike. It's kind of a lord for your boast guys because it says boast abilities you activate cost 1 colorless less to activate for each dragon you control. Not colorless, generic, whatever. And it has boast 4 and a red. Create a 5/5 red dragon creature token with flying. So he doesn't boast. I guess he lets the dragon do the boasting for him. Also, holy cow.
That's great.
I'm sorry, I was making fun of people in the chat. I didn't actually read this. Oh yeah, that is good.
Yeah. Whereas the Fearless Pup has a boast, and definitely is boasting in its flavor text.
Oh, he's a good boy. Look at him. Ah, woo!
But he is not a dog. He is a wolf, even though we have dogs now.
He's still a good boy.
Yeah.
But yeah, the Dragonkin Berserker is pretty cool.
Yeah.
I do like that it says boast abilities you activate, not just this boast ability.
Mm-hmm.
That's just a nice little touch.
Yep.
One of the mythics in red is the Quake Bringer.
Quake Bringer. What's
Quake
that start with?
Bringer.
There it is.
Is that a giant? Sounds like it
Yeah.
might be a giant.
That's exciting.
What's that
So
do?
for 3 and 2 red, it's a mythic giant berserker. That's a 5/4, and says your opponents can't gain life. It has foretell of 2 and 2 red, and also says at the beginning of your upkeep, Quakebringer deals 2 damage to each opponent. This ability triggers only if Quakebringer is on the battlefield or if Quakebringer is in your graveyard and you control a giant.
Oh. Oh.
Wait, didn't we talk about this last week?
I don't think we did.
Doesn't
Don't
sound
think so.
familiar.
I think it was available. I don't think we talked about it.
Yeah.
Oh, no, it was in the Discord, I think, that we talked about this. Because I remember someone asked a rules question, and I was like, what? No.
Just like that.
Yeah, the question was something like if you had... The way that it was worded, it wasn't really a question. The way that it was worded was in the Discord was not good. It's like, so can multiples of these trigger multiple times? And I was like, what? No. Multiples of these will trigger once each.
Like the man said.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Ouch. But yeah, if you've got a Quakebringer on the battlefield and a Quakebringer in the graveyard, then each one will trigger once. Because the Quakebringer is on the battlefield, so it triggers, and then the Quakebringer in the battlefield sees the giant that you control, which is the other one, on the battlefield, and it'll trigger. Right?
Yep.
Okay. Yay, giants. That hit things with big molten swords or something. I can't tell what that sword is made of. They could, at that size, it could be made of cardboard and it would still be awesome. So,
Hey, Mike.
hey, Mike.
Hey,
Do you like foretell?
yes, I do.
Is this a
Do
trick
you
question?
do you like demons?
Yes,
Have you seen Dream Devourer?
Oh yeah.
I have. I was surprised that this ability ended up on uh, a black card instead of a blue card or a white card, but I mean, hey, I'll take it all the
Well,
same.
black is all about trying to get an advantage. So
Yeah.
I can see this being black.
Yeah. So Dream Devourer for 1 and a black is a 0/3 rare demon cleric.
I missed the cleric bit on that.
Yeah.
Huh.
Each non-land card in your hand without foretell has foretell, and its foretell cost is equal to its mana cost reduced by 2. And whenever you foretell a card, Dream Devourer gets +2/+0 until end of turn.
So turn 4, I play Dream Devourer, and then I foretell a card that does not normally have foretell.
Mm-hmm.
During your turn, you blow this up. I can still then later play my card for the foretell cost that was assigned to it by Dream Devourer.
The hints that I've gotten from different cards in this set tell me yes. You know, I don't think or at least I haven't looked. I don't think the detailed rules for this have been released, but especially because of what Alrund says, the game knows that those cards are in exile because they were foretold, and the game can make that distinction. So if they were foretold, they have to have a foretell cost. So I'm assuming that the detailed rules have written in them the way that makes that work. Even if the Dream Devourer goes away, they still have foretell. Because notice it says each non-land card in your hand without foretell has foretell. If they didn't keep foretell after Dream Devourer was off the battlefield, so if for some reason they didn't have foretell anymore when Dream Devourer was off on the battlefield, I mean, Dream Devourer only gives the cards in your hand foretell anyway. It doesn't say anything about exile.
Yeah. The way I answered this in the Discord was something like, I think that just foretell handles all of the rules interactions.
Yeah.
Like it's like morph. If you've got a face down creature that you played face down, the game knows why it's face down.
Yeah, that's very perceptive of you. It's probably based on the exact same principle.
Yeah.
All right.
Because and otherwise, if it didn't, I don't think they would have printed this card.
Yeah,
no,
that's what I figured, because otherwise,
as written, even as written, it wouldn't even work properly while it was still on the battlefield.
Exactly. Exactly. So I think, because this card exists, I think it's pretty clear, even though that hasn't been released that we know of as of this recording. That's how this works. There's another question in the chat. It says, "Is this a good card?" I don't know.
Yeah, that's pretty good.
For 2 mana, I mean, it seems like it's fine. It's very low, risk.
There are some cards in the game that would be very happy about costing 2 less.
It's true.
And getting them out of your hand earlier.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
I'm trying to think of how this would be in limited. I'm pretty sure this is just sick in limited, right? Like, just whenever you have 2 mana left, you just foretell stuff in your hand, because why the hell not?
Because why not?
Yeah.
And it's because you have to foretell during your turn, but it doesn't have other timing restrictions. You do this in combat and just pump up your demon.
Yeah. And it's not like you're losing access to the cards. They're still there. You can still play them, and now they're even cheaper.
Exactly.
Yep. Just can't get a land from this because it says non-land cards in your hand. And originally I was like, oh, dude, this would be sweet, if we have a card where the foretell cost is higher than its mana cost. But this specifically says non-land cards in your hand without foretell. So you can't be like take a card with a high foretell cost and a low cost for
Yeah,
whatever
like I'm
reason.
using the Dream Devourer's foretell with this one, not the one printed on it. Yeah, no.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah, I think this card is neat. I have no idea if it's good, but it seems like in limited it would be fine.
Yeah.
Probably even good.
Probably.
But I have no idea outside of that.
I don't know.
Yeah, I got nothing.
Like I said, you're not losing access to the card, except for the fact that foretell requires you to play it on a later turn.
Yeah.
From the one that was foretold on.
It's very neat.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, here's another mythic right below it. Holy crap, that's terrifying.
Yeah. I mean...
Oh, she's pretty, though.
But she will eradicate you.
What was that, Dirk?
Her variant is really cool, too.
Oh, yeah? Hang on. Scroll. All right, quit middle clicking. Scroll. What was the name of the stupid card?
Never mind. It was the one.
Eradicator Valkyrie.
Oh, it's the
The
same
Cleaving Reaper was the one. I thought it was the Cleaving Reaper was the variant. Never mind.
Oh, okay. What's a Cleaving Reaper? That's... I don't even see that card. Why is that card not in the set?
Because it's in the Planeswalker deck.
Oh, okay, got it. All right, so the Eradicator Valkyrie for 2 black is a 4/3 Angel Berserker. She's mythic. She has flying, lifelink, hexproof from Planeswalkers. And boast of 1 and a black and sacrifice a creature. Each opponent sacrifices a creature or Planeswalker. Holy crap!
Yeah.
So attack with her, and then it's a Grave Pact, essentially.
Yep.
Huh.
Oh, this also doesn't have boastful flavor text. That's sad.
No room.
Just no pleasing some people.
Well, she's an Eradicator Archangel type thing. Her boast is probably just staring at you really hard, and you're like, guess I'll die now.
Yeah, flavor text that would be quote ... end quote is probably not.
Yeah. So while we're on the subject of mythics, we have, you know how there's the realm of the shapeshifters?
Yeah.
We have in blue.
Oh god.
Orvar, the all form.
Oh god, this thing.
For 3 and a blue, legendary creature shapeshifter, mythic. It's a 3/3 with changeling, so it has all creature types. Whenever you, and by the way, if this reminds you of my Ink Shredder deck, you've been paying attention. Whenever you cast an instant or sorcery spell, if it targets 1 or more other permanents you control, create a token that's a copy of one of those permanents. And whenever a spell or an ability an opponent controls causes you to discard this card, create a token that's a copy of target permanent. Notice there's things it doesn't say, like permanent you control, non-token permanent,
non-land permanent,
non-land.
Doesn't say any of that.
I
do like that it says an opponent controls.
Yeah.
So you can't like, oh, I will discard this Orvar. Oh no, I make a copy of your Planeswalker. No.
Yeah.
But yeah, this card is silly.
Mm-hmm.
Yes.
Just
Yep.
I
Yep.
can't. I've never seen such nonsense. When you cast a spell that targets one of your things, then make a copy of that thing. What? And then, by the way, when someone makes you drop this, make a copy of something just cuz. What? These are two bizarre abilities on the two bizarre tastes that taste bizarre together, you know?
Yeah.
Buh. Alright, what else we got in the way of mythics?
In white, you have Resplendent Marshall. I just talked about a card, so I'm not going to tell you what this one does, but it's a new angel. It was not here last week.
Hey, Dirk, what's it do?
Which one was it?
Resplendent Marshall in white.
All right, there we go.
Crap.
For 1 and 2 white, it's a 3/3 flying angel warrior that's mythic. When Resplendent Marshall enters the battlefield or dies, you may exile another creature card from your graveyard. When you do, put a +1/+1 counter on each creature you control other than Resplendent Marshall that shares a creature type with the exiled card. If it weren't for the creature type limitation, this would be just stupid. Like,
Already feels
good.
pretty good.
Okay, wait.
Yeah.
When it enters the battlefield or dies, you eat something in your graveyard, and you put counters on your other stuff that matches the thing you ate. Okay, got it.
Mike,
Yes.
does Changeling, I have a creature card that is a shapeshifter in my graveyard that also has Changeling, do I put a +1/+1 counter on all of my creatures other than Resplendent Marshall?
You
or
do.
only on my shapeshifters?
Changeling works in every zone.
Okay. All right. There you go. So exile that Chameleon Colossus and give all your other stuff a +1/+1 counter. And this triggers when it enters the battlefield or dies. And let's not forget that a lot of blink effects have it re-enter the battlefield. So, and those are in white a lot, I think. So, just in a war of attrition, by the time you even get to like the second +1/+1 counter on a lot of your stuff, you're probably doing pretty well.
Yeah,
Damn.
probably.
Did we talk about Starnheim Unleashed last time? I'm trying to remember if we did. I don't think we did.
No.
Mike, what's it do?
Yeah, Mike with your face.
Yeah.
Yes.
So, under normal circumstances, it's a mythic sorcery for 2 white that says create a 4/4 white angel warrior creature token with flying and vigilance. However, I'm going to skip ahead a bit. It has foretell of XX white.
That is not cheap.
Yeah.
No.
But backing up to the rules text, if the spell was foretold, create X of those tokens instead. So that's not cheap, but you get a lot of power and toughness in the air for the mana you put into it.
Okay, so hold on. So for 4 mana, you get a 4/4.
Yes.
Or for 2 mana now and 3 mana later, you get a 4/4.
Mm-hmm.
Which is already pretty good.
Yeah, that sounds pretty sweet on turn 2, actually. Foretell, I mean, yeah, pay 2, and then next turn pay 3 and get a 4/4.
And it's easier to splash.
Oh, that's true too.
Okay.
Or you pay 2 now and pay 5 later to get 2 4/4s.
That's great.
Which sounds reasonable as all hell, actually.
Yes. And from then on...
Yeah, it gets pricey.
Yeah. But it also gets dumb. Would you pay 7?
It does get dumb.
Would you pay 7 for 3/4/4s with flying.
And visuals.
If I could afford it,
Yes.
I totally
7?
would do that.
I mean, you can get to 7. And if you're about to die, you suddenly got 12 points of power and toughness on the board. So, yeah. How much more do we want to go with this? Because we haven't even covered all the sagas, and the sagas are the bomb diggity. Like, do we want to keep going tonight?
Oh, no, it's already somewhat late for you guys that have to get up in the morning.
Mm-hmm.
Let's talk about Ascendant Spirit and then call it. This is the card I was talking to Chewy about last week.
You were?
I was.
Oh, that, yeah. There's one more after this that if we don't mention, it won't take long. So, but there's one more after this.
All right. Well, then I'll take this one, and then you can tell me about the other one. So, Ascendant Spirit, for a single blue, it's a figure of destiny. No, I'm sorry, it's a snow creature spirit. It's a 1/1, and it's rare. So 1 mana for a 1/1 snow creature. Good night, everybody. It also has 3 abilities. First one, you pay 2 snow, which, you know, any mana from a snow permanent, twice. Ascendant Spirit becomes a spirit warrior with base power and toughness 2/3. It doesn't give any markers or tokens or anything like that, so you just need to remember, okay, now it's a 2/3. Second ability, for 3 snow, if Ascendant Spirit is a warrior, which remember that first ability turns it into a spirit warrior, put a flying counter on it, which I appreciate them using. That definitely makes it a little easier to remember. And it becomes a spirit warrior angel with base power and toughness 4/4. Great. Finally, for 4 snow, if Ascendant Spirit is an angel, courtesy of that second ability or shenanigans, I guess, put 2 +1/+1 counters on it, and it gains whenever this creature deals combat damage to a player, draw a card. So anyone that's been playing for a while, you may remember the Figure of Destiny, which was a card in Eventide that was kind of the predecessor to this sort of card before they made Level Up as a mechanic. And it had these abilities that all started to stack on top of each other. I want to note here that obviously you want to do these kind of in ascending order, but just because you then activate the last ability once doesn't mean you have to be done. As long as it remains an angel, you can keep activating that last ability and keep putting more and more +1/+1 counters on it. Mike, does it continue to get instances of that ability as well, the
Yep.
draw a card?
It does. Mm-hmm.
Wow,
That's those up too.
That's
Yeah, so after your 6/6, when it deals combat damage to a player, draw a card, you can go 8/8. When it deals combat damage to a player, draw 2 cards. Which, because of Figure of Destiny, my brain didn't register that at first. I was like, oh, okay, that's pretty good. And then someone in the Discord pointed out that that ability can repeat. And my brain, I heard the sound of shattering glass, and I woke up 5 minutes later covered in drool.
Yeah. And the reason, so you might look at this and be like, well, you know, this does take a decent amount of mana. And it does. The reason that this is so powerful is, first of all, if it's left unchecked, it will just straight up win you the game. And second of all, the fact that it is such a low investment when you play it, and those abilities are all instant speed abilities, that this is the type of card that, if left alone, will win you the game. And the fact that it's an initial investment of 1 mana makes this totally worth it. So,
oh yeah,
this is without a doubt a good card. I don't know that I can really make that claim all the time. You know, turn 1 banning, blah blah. You know, I'm not serious about that. But this is a good card. Like the threshold for this seeing play is so low, just
Like,
so
if
low,
you weren't around when Figure of Destiny owned the format,
which it did.
it's hard to explain.
Mm-hmm.
And I was around then, and it's still hard to explain for me because it's been so long.
Mhm.
But like Stark said, and someone last said, a turn 4 6/6 flyer. And Stark said, sure, if you want to devote turn 1, 2, 3 to pumping all your mana into it. And yeah, like if your opponent doesn't do anything else, screw it. You can go, as long as you don't miss a land drop, you can keep going every turn, because if they don't answer it, they will die. But you don't have to. You can go wide, and then later, like at the end of the turn, oh, I've got 3 snowlands up. I guess I'll make it a 4/4 now.
Yeah. And the other important thing is, again, you're only investing, while you're investing mana in it, you're not investing other cards.
Yes.
So they spend some amount of resources to deal with this. You still have everything else in your hand. So congratulations, you did take care of this one thing. Here's my other stuff. So
yeah, unlike an equipment or a whatever, if they kill your Ascendant Spirit, you lose tempo, but you've still got all of your other resources available to you, like Brian said.
yeah.
And you haven't, like, it's not that nothing of value is lost, but not much value is lost.
Yeah. Worst case scenario for this is you're the one with the Ascendant Spirit. They go turn 1 and they are heavy aggro red. Because that is the worst case scenario for this, because you have limited amount of time to get your defenses online anyway, and losing a creature can make this more difficult. And if they have a way to remove it either in response to that first ability, sometimes the game is just over by turn 4. But that's one very specific deck against this, in which case this is really rough. And if you're able to untap and make this into a 2/3, a 2/3 will block a lot of their stuff anyway. So that's still not like an auto lose. So yeah. So
Plus,
what is the
let's not forget, you still have the rest of your deck. It's not like you're relying on your Ascendant Spirit to carry the entire game.
correct?
For yourself.
Yeah.
So
Shut up, Mike.
so what is the other card you want to mention?
The other card is Doomscar.
Oh, this one. So which do you think is a better sweeper, Doomscar or Blood in the Snow? Blood on the Snow.
The 50-cent video game? No, that was Blood in the Sand. Sorry. I don't know that card.
They're both sweepers. It's just they do different things. I just thought it was interesting. We have 2 mass sweepers here. So what's Doomscar?
So Doomscar for 3 white is a sorcery, destroy all creatures.
Nice.
It's a wrath. But it has foretell of 1 white.
That is, I'm not gonna say ridiculous.
It's pretty ridiculous.
It's pretty, yeah.
Like, so it ends up being the same cost, but for spread across multiple turns and being able, anyone who's ever cast a sweeper knows that you want to be able to wrath and then get something else on the board if you're, that kind of deck with
Right.
wraths.
Because you want to be able to capitalize on it. Some of the strongest wraths are ones that either don't touch your stuff, or you can still then turn around and have some sort of asset on the board. What was it, Marshall? I'm seeing
Marshall
it where it's
Coup?
like Marshall Coup, where you get if
How
you
oddly
destroy.
relevant.
Soldiers.
What's that? What did Mike say?
I don't know. What'd you say?
Yeah, where you get soldiers.
Where you
Yeah.
get soldiers, right? But the fact that you can play this for 3 mana and still play something else on your turn is very good. I think Doomscar is another one that I can unabashedly say, yeah, that's a very, very good card. Limited, constructed,
Oh.
You know, it's good.
Yeah, it
So
is.
you hadn't seen Blood on the Snow?
I did, but I'd forgotten about it.
So, Mike, what's Blood on the Snow?
All right. 4 black, black. It's a rare snow sorcery. First, you choose one. Either destroy all creatures or destroy all planeswalkers.
Whew.
Then, return a creature or planeswalker card with converted mana cost X or less from your graveyard to the battlefield, where X is the amount of snow spent to cast this spell.
Huh.
So a wrath that also leaves you with something. As long as you're doing it right. I mean, worst case scenario, if you want to play a wrath, you're going to play a wrath, period. Even if you're not getting something back. That's kind of the point. But under ideal circumstances, you get something back. Yeah.
Huh.
So, 2 excellent sweepers in the set without even mentioning Crippling Fear, which is just dumb because, mutilate is a thing.
Oh.
Hey, Dirk, you haven't read a card in a while. Read Crippling Fear.
Color.
Black.
Black. It's right under Blood.
For 2 and 2 black, it's a rare sorcery. Choose a creature type. Creatures that aren't of the chosen type get -3/-3 until end of turn.
Yeah, I just want to know what the heck they were thinking. Because if you really just don't care, you're just going to name something that's not out. The only thing that this will never hit is something with Changeling. So I guess that's a thing, but it's not like every card in the set has Changeling. But if there's a bunch of things you need to kill, this absolutely will kill them. And has the potential for being like, hey, good for you for running a tribal deck. You get to keep all your stuff. So
that's a trip.
And it gets around indestructible. So yeah.
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 Why don't we stop there? We still got more mythics and other stuff to talk about, so we'll come back to this next week.
Yeah. Next week we'll focus on the sagas.
Yeah.
Because some of these are just silly.
Some of them are outright like I'm reading it and I'm like, I don't get it. And others I'm like, wow, they actually did that. So it's a good balance.
Yeah.
Okay.
So, how about some final thoughts then, my dorks?
So, I guess I'm going to do this and then I actually have to go. So, I don't know that I had mentioned this on this show. I make it sound like I do multiple shows. I don't know if I've actually said this on the show, but my daughter enjoys D&D, has not had many opportunities to do it. So, I'm currently pulling together a campaign, and some people that are on the show, not everyone, will be participating. But I just want to assure everyone that goes, well, wait a minute, because they know that Brian only has limited time. Anyone that is worried about this distracting from the Magic RPG, have no fear. The Magic RPG, I mean, I've had the story and the major campaign beats plotted out basically since the beginning, and especially since the second half of this, I've gotten most of it done, and I'm literally putting on the finishing touches of the maps and all that for where I think the campaign is going. Maybe these guys will surprise me. But for the major story they've been working on this whole time, that we are very close on that. And I just throw that out there because I know some people really enjoy it. And it's true. And I'm realizing just how much time goes into campaigns and all that good sort of stuff. But have no fear. I'm not going to be like, forget that other game. I'm doing this now. Because I do that from time to time. But I have really enjoyed the Magic RPG. I certainly hope you guys have as well. Both these guys with me here, and people listening at home or wherever you're listening to this. And if it's something you've enjoyed, then hopefully you'll continue to enjoy going on that journey with us this year.
I predict we'll do at least one episode this year.
Maybe after all of these previews, before they start more previews. We'll see. And with that, I'm going to head out. I'll talk to you guys later.
Night,
Right.
B.
I'm gonna do the same. I'm gonna head out here after my final thought. Really don't have anything major to discuss other than the new semester officially started today. And as I was telling Chewy and Brian at the very beginning of all this, that I am teaching 2 physics classes that are honors level. And I was shocked by the number of kids who did not show up to my classes today for the honor physics class. I had, what was it, 4 people who didn't show up out of like 30 kids, which for honors level classes is really kind of shocking, because usually if I have, at most I'll have like 1, maybe 2, and they will show up the next day and be like, yeah, I dropped the ball on this. I'm so sorry. It won't happen again. Like, I almost never have issues at all with honors level physics class, because it's not required. It's an honors class, and it's because it's such a math heavy class, you don't really take the class unless you really want to. Whereas I joked that my physical science class, which is a required class usually for people who are lower level, who just have to have a 3rd science to graduate, I was shocked. I had 5 people out in that one. I was expecting it to be like half the class, because we're all doing the distance learning thing. So it was kind of a big contrast between my expectations of how many people showed up to class today for the very first day. Quite uneventful, seeing as it was, hey, can you get on Zoom? Can you go to the website? All right, you need to fill out some information so that way I can get in contact with you guys and let you know what the plans are and what's going on. All right, let me check, make sure you got everything turned in. All right, bye. See you Monday. Sort of thing. Because we've got teacher workday tomorrow.
So wait, when you
But
say don't show up,
like they didn't show up. They didn't communicate with me in any way through email, or we use a program called Remind, which is like, instead of the students like actually texting us with our phone numbers, this is sort of like a text program where they can just contact us and say, hey, I send out a message to everybody. They can communicate with me, and just so on and so forth. It's like a middleman way of communicating with the teacher.
so is this one of those things where they have the option to either go to class or learn from home?
We're actually doing it this semester. We're doing the hybrid model, where we can only have a certain number of students in the school at a time starting Monday, and so some will be in school, the rest will be at home. We're pretty sure, like, the staff essentially we're not taking bets, but our expectation is not very good that we're going to have students stay doing the hybrid. That they're going to come back to school, realize they don't get to talk to their friends in the hallway, because you go straight to class, you stay in class until the bell rings, and then you go straight to your other classes, and lunch is going to be in your second period class. That they're going to realize that it's not very fun to go to school right now. Like, we want to go to school, which is a huge, shock to me. But that the kids want to be in school, but they also want to be in school because they want normalcy. and that's not going to happen. And so there's going to be a bunch that are just going to go, I don't really want to go to school because I can just stay at home where it's warm and I have food. I can go to lunch anytime I want. And, I don't have to go to school. I don't have to get dressed up. I don't have to do all the stuff. I can just be on Zoom and do my thing at home every day. And so we're all pretty sure that's what's going to happen. Probably like about 3 weeks into school is everyone's just going to realize, you know what, it's just easier just to stay home. And we're going to see all of our hybrid model stuff is just going to go right out the window.
That makes sense.
Mm-hmm. We don't want that to happen. We want the kids to be in school, but
that goes back to my original question. So they had the choice to either come in to class or just be on Zoom today, and those 5 did neither.
Oh, no one came into class today because today was an orientation, just check in and all that.
Okay.
They officially have the option to come in on Monday. Monday's when we actually have the hybrid schedule. Today was just Zoom because there was no reason for them to come in because we weren't covering any new material.
Thus my complete confusion. You're like, oh, they didn't show up today. And I went, how do you not show up? Yeah. It's high school.
Well, no, they just didn't get on Zoom. We had told everyone's like, you go to the school website and, there's the information to get on teachers' Zooms and, you do that. And that was what you're supposed to do today. And a bunch of them just didn't do it. I did have one girl who I had already gotten off Zoom, was kind of doing my planning period or about to do my planning stuff, and then she emailed me and said, I am so sorry, I got da 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 da. And so she was able to get on, did all the information stuff and everything. I didn't count her absent for the day or anything like that, but at least she took the time to apologize and to just I got confused because of this and that. And so I was like, you showed up. The simple fact you showed up, I'm like, yeah, sure. Oh, you're good. Just that simple fact. So
fair enough.
All right. Well, with that, I am gonna go ahead and head on to bed because I got all that fun stuff going on tomorrow.
All right. Well, good night, Zerg. That was a really long and roundabout way to say 5 students just didn't get on Zoom today.
You must have really made a strong impression on him.
It must have. When he's like, yeah, I had 5 students that didn't show up. Like, I heard that when he was telling me and Brian earlier, but I was also finishing setting up the stream and whatnot, so I was only kind of listening. And then he said it again, and my brain went, how do you not show up? It's high school. Like, does that mean they were just absent today? Like, what does that mean? That boy needs therapy. But what does that mean, anyway? Crazy in the coconut. I'm sorry. Anyway, now that that all happened and whatnot, yeah. How hey, Mike.
Hey, how you doing?
I have no idea. Let's just be real.
Yeah, final thoughts. So I'm one of the people who's going to be participating in Brian's D&D thing, and
yeah, I'm the only one who's
Ashley's
not.
interested. Yeah, you're not. Ashley's interested too, and it was actually a really interesting experience to like be sitting and talking D&D details with Ashley over the weekend. When I was coming up with ideas and she was coming up with ideas, and she was asking me questions and everything like that. It was a very interesting experience.
Dude, I think she might be a keeper.
Yeah. Glad I went ahead and got hard stuff out of the way in that respect. Um, but yeah, I think it's really going to be fun. It sounds like the party is almost like all magic users. We'll see how that goes. Everyone will just have to stand back and blast away. That could work, but Brian's going to be accommodating and not give us a scenario that just runs us over on day one.
Nice. Why am I a D&D hater? It's not. I don't have enough time to do the stuff I want to do, much less like for my stuff, like all the streaming and podcasting and YouTubing and stuff. So any extra thing that's not content is just like exhausting. That, and I have no interest in D&D. Not a hater, I just don't care.
Oh, and when we were making my character, Brian misunderstood the instructions for the height and weight calculations.
Oh my god, so are you 200 inches tall or something, or feet, or whatever?
No.
Oh.
So I chose Dragonborn. For various reasons. Yeah. So I'm a Dragonborn I'm a big dragon man who's 6'5" and only 180 pounds.
So, as Bill Cosby said once, you're what they used to get the football out of the sewer.
Yes.
Just grab you by the feet and, you got it? What do you mean lower? You got it?
So yeah, so it should have been the calculated weight should have been 241, but this is much funnier, and I'm just gonna keep it that way.
It is way funnier. Let's hope there aren't any stiff breezes.
Yeah.
Nice. Well, I hope you all have fun.
Yeah, I think we will. I was tempted to just remake the barbarian character that I was playing with another group earlier last year, but I'm like, nah, let's do something else. So I chose a warlock, and then I found out we also have like another warlock and a sorcerer and a wizard, and Ash is going to be a bard, and I'm like, Brian said, no, just do what you want.
Brian's like, we don't need like a real party. We're having a party.
Yeah. Yeah, exactly.
Nice.
Yeah. And with that, I'll stick around to the end of the show, but I'm also going to head out after you finish the sign-offs.
I mean, that's a good call. It's late as hell.
Yeah, it is.
So, for what I've been enjoying lately, let's see. What's going on YouTube? I'm playing through the Doom games. I started those last week. I'll probably pick up Doom again tomorrow night, actually, since there's still been nobody asking about Among Us, so no sense trying to force the community to play that if the community doesn't want to play that. So, I'm doing what I call a franchise run, where I'm going to play all the Doom games that I have. So that's Doom, Doom 2, Doom 64, Doom 3, Doom from 2016, and Doom Eternal. And yeah, I went through the first, and I've never played, I played Doom 2 back in the day when I was a kid, but that consisted of typing in IDDQD and running around and murdering things. Like, that wasn't actually playing Doom. So yeah, I made it through the first 2 chapters of Doom last week, and then this week I will hopefully make it through the next 2. I got to kill my first cyber demon. That was fun. Scared the crap out of me. Because when you meet the cyber demon at the end of chapter 2, there's a central area where there's rocket ammo, and then the rest of the stage is just a big open area where there's a cyber demon walking around. And I went, ah! Like, Actually, it turns out that is the sound I make the most when I play Doom, is ah! Because monster closets will just open and horrible things will happen behind me and I'll take damage and I will make that sound and then run away screaming. Which, that's how you play Doom, right?
Yeah.
Okay, that's what I mean, that's how I play Doom. I'm also still playing through Shovel Knight King of Cards. I actually finished the last video for that yesterday, so I have to do another stream soon. Probably this weekend. So yay! That'll be fun. Because I really love Shovel Knight. I don't know if y'all know this, but it's really good. That's why I've played through 3 campaigns already, and I'm doing a 4th one. It's because it's good. And outside of that, what have I been doing? Oh, I've been watching the Karate Kid movies in the lead up to watch Cobra Kai. So today, in my zombie form, because I had serious issues sleeping, I watched Karate Kid 3, which is awful, and the next Karate Kid, which is not as bad as I expected. It's the only one I hadn't seen. And so next up I will start Cobra Kai. Yay! Because people keep telling me it's really good, and I'm like, okay. I believe you. So, yeah. And the other thing that's been giving me life these last 2 days are the Bernie memes.
Yes.
Yes. The Bernie memes are killing me. The best 2 I've seen so far is Bernie sitting with the crew from Letterkenny. And then the one that actually made me fall out is Bernie on the back of the wagon at the beginning of Skyrim. Because that one got color changed to match the background. So rather than just having a Bernie just sitting there all weirdly, he matches, and it looks like he belongs there, sitting next to a gagged Ulfric Stormcloak. Oh, and it makes me so happy. Anyway. And then I choked and died. That's how funny it was. Oh, man. So, everyone enjoy the Bernie memes before they get old. By the time you're hearing this, they're probably old already because that's how the internet works, but yeah. Ow. All right. So, I guess with that, we will stop. So, hey, if you want to support what I do, go to patreon.com/themanapool. You can sign up to be a lifeguard. And yeah, mythic lifeguards are in, I don't know, this order. That's a new order. Okay, let's see if I can do this. Team You Hellas Are You? Scuzzo, Rafe Gall, PJ McMullen, Gothic Man, Mr. Dr. Lewis, Beardy Man. Oh no, Mike, I scrolled when I said you. Hang on.
Uh-oh.
Kim Ho, Backwards Logic, Casey, John Parker, Jeff Spencer, Jason Kaus. What? All right. Mouse. Jason Doan, Jake Jansons, Connor Kennedy, Cody Buckowing, Andrew Hunt, ALK Alters, Aleph Cat, Al, and the Beastfather Aaron Goodwin. Hey, look at him being at the end again. Yay. Thank you all so much to all of the lifeguards at every tier, and to everyone who listens or watches or whatever. I appreciate it. If you have Amazon Prime, let's try that again. If you have Amazon Prime, come hang out on Saturday nights where we watch movies. Usually it's me and Steph. Last week we watched some Nicolas Cage movies. This week we're watching Starman and Coneheads. And the week after that, I don't know. We might watch some Westerns if the good ones are still on Prime. Stuff jumps on and falls off of Prime constantly, so it's hard to plan too far ahead. But yay, there you go. So this has been the Manapool number 609. Nice. Thank you all so very much for joining us, and hopefully things will get better from here.